Hello, and welcome to the Best of the Following the Nerd Show podcast, a weekly roundup of all the latest news from the world of nerd. If you want to share your thoughts on any of the stories we've reported on this week, you can tweet us on Twitter at NerdFollowing and like us on Facebook.com/Following the Nerd. And now, here are your hosts, Marc and Saxon.
I'm Marc.
I'm Saxon.
And you are following the nerd. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. We've got another busy show this week. First up, we're going to be chatting to a guy by the name of Warren Elsmore. He's responsible for rebuilding the world with Lego blocks in his new exhibition, Brick City, which kicks off on the 17th of May at the Titanic Quarter in Belfast and runs until the 13th of July. He's also going to be talking about Brick2014, which he says is the Lego equivalent of Star Wars Celebration.
Wow, bold words.
Bold words. Our next guest, and we're very, very honoured tonight, is a lady by the name of Amanda Ladd. She is the granddaughter
of the legendary Alan Ladd, and the daughter of Alan Ladd Jr.
Now, she is trying to get, she's going through a Kickstarter at the minute to try and get a documentary made about her father, Alan Ladd Jr. For anybody that doesn't know, and I'm pretty sure that most of the nerds out there will know,
yeah,
but he is a legendary director. Okay?
Yeah.
Alien, Blade Runner, Star Wars.
Producer, you mean?
Producer.
Yeah.
Thelma and Louise. Night Shift. Have you ever seen Night Shift?
No, I haven't.
Movie, Michael Keaton, Henry Winkler. It's one of my all-time
Michael Keaton
favorite,
and Henry Winkler?
It's one of my all-time favourite.
Okay, I really want to see this.
Okay. It's quite adult. It's about, they run, let me just say, Ladies of the Night out of a morgue, basically. Okay.
Right.
But it's a comedy. And it's a very, very funny comedy.
It sounds hilarious.
And Henry Winkler's in it, and he plays the straight role in it because he's just coming off sort of the Happy Days thing, and he's just a really ordinary, down-to-earth.
When was this made?
Michael Keaton is playing... Johnny Blaze, I think, was Michael Keaton's name in it, or Billy Blaze. Is Billy Blaze?
It must
and
have
he's
been
such an unbelievable character, and he's so good.
Yeah.
It was made, I'd say, 82, 83, sort of around that time.
Wow.
I think it was Ron Howard's first... directing gigs.
Serious?
Yeah, I think.
So you've got a movie starring a young Michael Keaton with Henry Winkler just off the back of Happy Days and Ron Howard directing?
He's directing it, yes.
Why have I not seen this?
And Alan Ladd Jr. is the one that basically said to Ron Howard, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're going
Do
to
it.
take a chance.
Yeah, let's make it. Unbelievable.
So we're going to be talking to his daughter later on. We're really, really looking forward to that. What else? We've got Stuart from the Monday Movie Show. He's going to be calling in a little bit later tonight. He asked me to call him late. I asked him why. He says, because that's when I'm going to be home.
Oh.
Fair enough.
Was Stuart in bed at 9 tonight and home by 11?
Alright, easy. For anybody that's listening right now in podcast land, this is the 8th of May 2014 when this show is being recorded.
8th of May.
I know. The
8th of May.
It's mad, isn't it?
It was Christmas 2 days ago. What happened? It's absolutely insane. I mean, I genuinely just think time seems to speed up, the older you get. Because for me, like, I used to wait for ages for Christmas to come around. And it's like, it just pops up every 2 seconds now, so I can't imagine what it's like for yourself. Like, the years must go like, ba-ching,
It's absolutely brutal.
Because, like, you've got kids as well, so it's an absolute nightmare. It just must be like, ba-ching, it's Easter, ba-ching, it's summer holidays, ba-ching, it's Halloween, ba-ching, it's birthdays, ba-ching, it's Christmas.
Yeah,
it just must be little kind of stopgaps in your life. It's like, hang on, I've got the kids' Easter eggs. Really? It's Christmas? What are you doing?
X9, voice of Ahsoka Tano on Star Wars The Clone Wars, and I follow the nerd.
We've topped up our Mr. Fusion, and the flux capacitor's fluxing nicely. Following the nerd. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Hello, this is George Takei, and this is Following the Nerd. Live long and prosper.
You love Lego, don't you?
Everybody loves Lego.
Warren, hello, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Hi.
You're talking to Marc and Saxon. Thank you very much for taking time out to come on the show. I know you're very, very busy in preparation for next week.
Yes, we've got the exhibition coming into Titanic Centre opening next Saturday.
Right, now, for anybody that's listening to the show right now and is wondering what Brick City is all about, tell us what it's all about.
Well, it's an exhibition of Lego models, because that's what I do for a living. I get to build Lego every day, which is quite cool. And it's an exhibition of Lego models of iconic buildings and landmarks from around the world. So there's about 70 odd landmarks, including things like St Pancras Station in London and the London Olympic Park from 2012, Macy's parade over in New York, and a whole bunch of different images, all sort of recreated in Lego, which have been taken from my first book, Brick City, with the same name. And that's what we're bringing over to Belfast next week.
Now, something I have to ask, and this is something that has really got me curious. Well, the first thing is, do you collect Lego? Do you get excited for new Lego kits coming out? Would you just pick them up off the shelf, or have you got to the stage now where you've sort of put your profession aside and, well, frankly, it's like, right, enough Lego. I need to distance myself from Lego.
No, I'm still very much a fan. I mean, I've been an adult Lego fan for years and years. It's now my job as well, but I'm still a fan. I still like buying sets. I'm not so much of a collector, but I still look at things when they come out in January every year and look at what the new sets are going to be, and look forward to buying things, and especially sort of exclusive sets or limited edition ones. They're really cool. To be honest, I'm a rubbish collector, because if I see a fantastic set, then I'll buy it and I'll rip open the box and build it. The Lego sets lots of people get a lot of fun out of it, which is fine. It's cool. It means I can still get hold of really nice sets that went out of production years and years ago. But I've got sets at home sitting on shelves that are worth an awful lot now as collectibles, but they're not for sale. They're just cool things I like having. There's a model of the Statue of Liberty that Lego did in 2001, about 2 foot tall. It's about 60, 70 centimeters tall. And it's done in a color called sand green, which is very copper-like, but is really even now, is really rare to get hold of. So even the parts alone in that model are worth a fortune, but I like it sitting on the shelf. It's too good to let go.
Yes, and I have to ask this: do you permanently put the bricks together? Do you super glue them? Do you craggle them? To quote the Lego movie.
Generally, no. I generally don't need to. Sometimes I do if I'm building a model that's going to be given to a customer, and then they're going to take it on, use it as an exhibition, take it on tour, or give it away as a gift or something like that. Then I do glue some of those ones, but it's a really, really time-consuming process to do that.
Have you ever had anything in your collection that you've just loved so much, it was so intricate and so hard to put together, and something's happened, it's fallen off the shelf and just smashed to bits?
Once or twice, but thankfully not with anything too big. We've accidentally knocked a couple of models off the table in the studio, and kind of looked at the resulting pile of pieces on the floor, which is kind of annoying. But if it's not glued, then we can put it back together again. It's just a question of remembering how we built it in the first place.
Where do you stop becoming like a casual collector, or even the more hardcore collectors, but where do you stop being that guy and then becoming the guy that builds something like Brick City? Now, I'll give you for an example. With Ghostbusters this year, there's an Ecto 1 set coming out next month, which we cannot wait to get. The guy that designed it was done through Kuzo, and the guy that designed it has released blueprints for the firehouse, the Ghostbusters firehouse, which is quite a large model. And I haven't even got this foggiest notion, for example, where you start to even get the bricks for something like that. Where do you stop being an off-the-shelf guy and a proper hardcore Lego master builder?
Well, I mean, it's different for most people, but I kind of started by doing something similar, and taking a set that Lego produced or somebody else had produced and thinking it's really good, but for me it's about 90% there. There's other bits I want to add to it. I want to make it a bit bigger. I want to change the length of it or the color of it or something like that. And most people kind of start with that and then modify things a little bit. There's a good few places you can get hold of bricks now. I mean, you can obviously buy bricks on eBay, but there's a website called Bricklink and another one called Brick Owl, which are both websites that let you just buy individual parts. And there's also, if you live near a Lego brand store, then you can buy individual parts, but they have quite a limited selection. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where you sort of most, I think, adult fans kind of progress into that. Then they go for something, they want to build of their own design or build their own house or something like that. And eventually you get to a stupid stage like I do, where you sit down and think, I'm going to build a railway station with 180,000 bricks, 4 meters long. And why not? That's a sensible thing to do.
You get commissioned to do work, but obviously something like Brick City, is this your own passion? Is this something that you do yourself and then tour around, or what way does it work? It's
a little bit of both for the books. So I remember I I think, an 8 or 9 hour meeting sitting there going, right, which, out of every building in the world, which 70 buildings are we going to try and narrow this down to that are possible to build, that we could put instructions in for, etc., etc. So it's quite a difficult process. You can build anything in Lego if you make it big enough or, simple enough, but it's what's going to work really well and what's going to look really iconic. So things like the Ghostbusters set, I've seen the pictures of it. It's a brilliant thing, and it works really well in the medium as well. So you sometimes have to be quite specific about which things you do.
Where do you start thinking, right, okay, you know what, I know what this building looks like, I'm going to try and have to work out a scale here, I'm going to work, do you build it and then create the instructions? Do you back engineer it? What way does it work?
So, well, most of the time I do start on the scale, because the scale is the thing that has a really big impact on how you're going to build it and what you're going to build with. A lot of the time I like to build in minifig scale, or what we call minifig scale, which is to the scale of the Lego figures, which does result in some really massive buildings, but it lets you put lots of detail in. So you'd start on the scale either by going with the figures or perhaps going with a certain element. So when we looked at building the little mini Westminster Abbey, for instance, not the massive one, but there's a little mini model in the book that has instructions. And you've got to put arches in because it's a church, and there's only certain sizes of arch that you can do in Lego as individual parts before you start getting really complicated. So that kind of defines which scales you could do the model in.
Tell us a wee bit of when the show starts up and where people can get details on it.
So the show starts up, it's open to the public from Saturday, next Saturday.
Mm-hmm. That's the 17th, isn't that right?
That's the 17th, yeah. At the Belfast Titanic Centre. And it's running through until July, August sometime.
13th of July.
Yeah, so it's there for quite a while. And if you want to get details on it, you can either go to my website, which is warrenelsmore.com, or the Belfast Titanic site has got all the details on there for tickets as well.
Now, before I let you go, can I ask you quickly about Brick2014?
You certainly can, yes.
Tell us a little bit more. You told me today that this was the Star Wars celebration of the Lego world.
Bold words.
Well, yeah, we certainly hope so. I've run a show with my other half for a few years, with just sort of it's a public Lego exhibition of all sorts of Lego models that have been built by myself and lots of other fans, and also huge Lego play areas, and vintage sets being sold and collectible sets, individual bricks, all these sorts of things. It's basically it's the ultimate Lego weekend for whatever age of Lego fan that you are. And this November we're taking the show down to London at the XL Centre. So we've got about 20,000 square metres worth of Lego content. It's the 27th to the 30th of November. So at the XL in London, and all the details for that are on brick2014.com. The show's moving on from Belfast to various other venues, and I'll publish all of those dates. But yeah, have a look at warrenelsmore.com, or just search for Lego Warren. That'll find me. There's not many of us around. All the details are on there. There's also YouTube clips of time lapses of builds that I've done, and some other shows I've done, and lots of other information on there. So
we just can't wait to see what you build in the future, and I want to see that Ghostbusters firehouse. If you ever build it, I want pictures on our page.
And you want plans as well, detailed plans
yes,
of how to build your own.
Price.
There you go. There's a commission for you.
All right, listen, take care, sir. Thank you very much for coming on the show, and I will catch up with you next Friday night.
Thanks a lot.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Keely Hawes from Ashes to Ashes, and you are following The Nerd.
Hi, I'm Billy D. Williams, and I'm following The Nerd.
Hey, this is Laura Summer. I kept the firehouse hot as Janine Melnitz in The Real Ghostbusters, and I'm following The Nerd.
Okay, right, now, we're going to speak to Amanda Ladd now. Hello, Amanda, can you hear us?
Yes.
Thank you very, very much for taking time out of your really, really busy schedule to come and talk to us tonight. I was under the impression that everyone knew who your father was. Maybe it's just because I'm such a movie fan, but, ever since that green 3 came up at the start of Blade Runner when I was about 3, it's just been part of my movie fandom.
Well, here's the thing, actually. It's funny that you should bring that up because I often joke that some of the biggest cinephiles I've met have been people that I've met in England, Britons and so forth, and Europeans in general, but in particular the British. And what I attribute it to is the fact that you guys only had 3 channels or 4 channels. Wasn't there a fourth one? It's because there was never anything on TV, so you watched what was on, and you guys all developed this, I think, really very impressive sort of film list. Much more impressive, I think, than, well, I don't know. I don't want to disparage anybody else. That's not good to say. But I do find I was often like, wow, you know that movie? Wait, that's one of your favorites? And then I'd hear things, oh, yes, that ran every Christmas, or that ran every, Easter or something like that. So I actually think that's probably part of it. So he's more well-known maybe there than here.
Well, now, tell us a little bit about, tell us about your father, because we know him as the producer, he's the man. Without him, there would have been no Star Wars, there would have been no Blade Runner. I'm not just saying this, Night Shift is one of my all-time favourite comedies. Because it's so off the wall. It's tasteless, but brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's something that I think is so funny about him too, because he's just he really runs the gamut of film genres, and he dominates in so many different genres. Like science fiction, he obviously dominates in that one. But he's got some really great comedies and some great women's movies and some great dramas and epic war epics. So it's pretty impressive. I think he just has, he just loves movies. And I think that's the main motivation for why you make something, is whether or not you think you'd like to see it. I think everybody wins. I remember at one point when I was young, I asked him why he couldn't have a better job like a police officer or a fireman. So, I just really didn't, I just didn't think it was that great, quite frankly. And I reaped the benefits of it. I got to see movies really early on and, lots of great things and toys and merchandise. But, you just don't realize how fortunate you are and how extraordinary that is, really, because, it's all that you know. So it just seems like, everybody's life is like this, right?
But that's a great thing, because it speaks volumes about the humanity of your dad, because, we've all met that. We all have friends and their dads do something cool, and you say to them, wow, your dad does that? And they're like, yeah, why? And you're like, but that's amazing. And they're like, no, but that's just what dad does.
He's not flashy. So it's not like we were rolling around with, super expensive cars and drivers and, entourage, none of that. He was just that way. He drove the same car for 15 years. I mean, it was a Mercedes. It was a nice car, but he drove for 15 years. And then he was kind of bent out of shape when it was really time to replace it, because he just didn't feel like it was necessary. So, in that way, it was, another sort of way that he kind of kept all of us, I have siblings, all of us sort of in the dark about, what he was really doing. My sisters, I have 2 older sisters, so they were definitely much more cognizant of the whole Star Wars and all of that around, surrounding that, and then, various other things in his career. I was younger, so I was much more oblivious. But again, even with all of us, he was just our dad. So at home, that's all he was to us. And so I think, even though they were more cognizant, they probably would say the same thing that I say.
Now, tell us a little bit about the Kickstarter project, about Laddie. Tell us a little bit about the goals and what exactly it is that you're trying to get out there.
Basically, we are, I've been working on it for a while. I've got a bunch of really amazing interviews. It kind of was inspired by the fact that, I found that I was meeting and encountering a lot of people that had these really incredible stories, and, I'd never heard them, and I felt, like they should be, recorded. And so then I set out to do that. And so and I was really delighted, actually, because I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But the response was really positive. People really, quite quickly and willingly agreed to participate. And busy people at that. So I was really, really grateful. And now we've got everything. You know, we have a couple more interviews that we want to shoot. And, you know, we just really need to be able to spend the time to just build the story. And, you know, there's so many incredible stories, and we're so fortunate to have all this great material. But, you know, it needs to be made into one story. So we're doing this Kickstarter campaign so we can dedicate the time to construct all of these great stories into one big story, the story of Laddie. But, you know, it's we are getting close. The figure we came up with was definitely, we really sat down and thought very, very seriously about what we needed to get a movie that we could take around that could stand completely on its own. And so that came down to really the essentials, which are obviously editing, a composer, a researcher, and various other things. You know, there are a few more interviews that we'd like to get, that we have people that have agreed to participate. We just need to get the money to get them. So, you know, that all of that will, like I said, bring us to a point where we feel that we will have something really strong that can stand on its own. But that said, it's the leanest possible way of getting there, which we will, but anything more makes it just that much better. And, you know, it's just more that we can put into it and really, you know, just kind of kill it, as they say.
When you're meeting, you know, the likes of Mel Brooks, I mean, Mel Brooks, young Frankenstein, you know, when you're meeting these guys, do you still, I guess you can't answer that, but are you still like, oh my God, that's Mel Brooks?
Yeah, no, I really am. I mean, that's the thing, again, it really is, because these guys are impressive. And that's, again, you know, one of the main things that I really have been kind of moved by, is that in some way, you know, I'm a writer as well, so I really kind of identify with these guys on certain levels. Mm-hmm. And so for me to listen to them talk about my dad being their creative enabler is, I mean, what artist doesn't want to champion? And so to sit there and hear of these projects that I love, movies that I love, that I've watched, you know, filmmakers that I admire, you know, talk about this person that got behind them, you know, it really, it you know, again, it blows me away that it's my dad.
You said at the start of the interview how varied his body of work was in the movies that he was involved in. With Laddie, is your intention to basically to contact people that have worked with your dad, that have been involved in these movies, and kind of to tell his story through other people and their stories of him? Is that sort of what you're aiming to do?
Yeah, that's a lot of what it is. I mean, I basically sort of say it's kind of the story of his career told by his friends and colleagues, seen through the prism of my perspective. But in addition to that, it's sort of an examination of films and filmmaking now, the types of films that are made now versus then, mm-hmm. and why that is. You know, is the studio system working as well as it could? Or, you know, what's happened to the artist? What's happened to the art form? You know, I think on the one hand, it's a really interesting time because it's like the height of studio, you know, money and bloated budgets and giant films and giant successes and giant flops.
Now, okay, so for anyone that's listening to the show right now, Amanda, and they're thinking to themselves, you know, I really want to see this movie, and to be honest with you, the question for me is more, why would you not want to see this movie? But for anybody that wants to help, that wants to be a part of it, what do they do next?
Well, you can go to Kickstarter.com and look up Laddie the documentary. Donations start at $1, and every dollar helps. I promise that is a genuine statement. And, you know, I think we've got 7 days left. We're really close, but, you know, we obviously have, you know, got to push it toward the finish line because Kickstarter, it's all or nothing. You know, you meet your goal or you don't get anything. Mm-hmm. So that's really the biggest way. But, you know, in addition to that, if you can't manage that, that's totally fine. Just spreading the word because, you know, that's the thing about my dad. He sort of, you know, kind of flew under the radar, and I definitely am trying to make sure that that he's known and remembered for all that he's done. So yeah, so you can spread the word. LaddieMovie.com is our website. You can go to Laddie the Movie on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Laddie Movie, and Instagram, Laddie Movie. Spread the word, visit Kickstarter, donate $1. We have till next Thursday.
Listen, Amanda, have a great day, and stay in touch, and we'll be posting the links, and we'll try and get as much support for this as we can between now and this time next week. And as I said, we really, really do look forward to seeing this.
Thanks so much. Thanks, guys.
No problem. Listen, have a lovely day, and take care.
You too. Thanks so much. Been a pleasure.
Thanks, Amanda. Bye-bye.
Farewell.
Hello, I am Russell Tovey, and I am following the nerd.
Hi, this is Maximiliano Hernandez. I play Agent Sitwell in The Avengers, in Thor, and in Item 47, and you are following The Nerd.
I'm Philip Glenister, Gene Hunt, and I'm following The Nerd.
Of all the Marvel movies, the Hulk seems to have the weirdest record at the box office. The first movie by Ang Lee wasn't well received.
But you liked it.
I liked it. Then The Incredible Hulk came out and it was good.
I thought it was okay.
It was okay.
Well, you have to remember it came out the same summer that Indiana Jones came out, Iron Man came out, The Dark Knight came out as well.
Same summer as Iron Man, yeah?
Yeah, it's 2008. Because
Right.
I remember going to see it that same year, a few months later. Because Iron Man came out first,
Yeah.
then a few months went past, and then we had The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
So, it did decent figures for the movies that it was up against.
Okay. Right. Yet Edward Norton, who starred in the movie, didn't come back for Avengers and was replaced by Mark Ruffalo. And
Do you know what? I'm waiting for the day that... Sorry to cut you off mid-sentence.
Right.
I'm waiting for the day that they re-release The Incredible Hulk, the special 20th anniversary Blu-ray, where they've digitally replaced Edward Norton's head with Mark Ruffalo.
I actually kind of want them to do that.
Yeah.
Because it kind of irks me that he doesn't look the same, Lou Ferrigno, who voices the Hulk in the movies, who of course played Hulk in the original TV series, and he was the voice of Hulk in Avengers and The Incredible Hulk.
He was, yes.
Voices has now said multiple times that the Hulk will get his own movie after Age of Ultron is released, which would put him in the Phase 3 block, which is interesting. As to why he would get his own movie, Ferrigno said, now because he has saved the day, they're making another solo Hulk movie after the second Avengers comes out. Again, this is interesting. It's not hard to believe that he would know about things to come as he is the voice of the Hulk. Perhaps we'll get some information of this very, very soon. As for what the movie will be, there has been a lot of rumours about Planet Hulk. Now,
but we've discussed this on the show countless times before. In Planet Hulk, he's just the Hulk for the whole movie. So I think they're going to have to retool it where he turns back into Banner again at certain times or something.
Yeah.
Because Disney and Marvel have said countless times they don't want to pay a high-quality actor like Mark Ruffalo just to do performance capture and voiceover work.
What's interesting about the Ferrigno says now that he saved the day, they're making another Hulk movie. So does this mean Hulk is the hero, will beat Ultron? Is that what he was saying there?
Is that what he's saying?
I don't know. I think that's interesting.
Because we've had concept out of him taking on the Hulkbuster.
Yeah,
which we know is going to happen in the first 15 minutes.
We've seen the arm.
Yeah, that fight will take place within the first 15 minutes.
I wonder
of Age
why
of
that's going
Ultron.
to take place in the first 15 minutes. How are they going to set that up so quickly? Why
Is the
Hulk
movie just
fighting?
going to begin with this fight?
Or maybe, and then what, flashback?
And then it'll just basically be Stark testing out his new suit, which he'll then have to use at the end of the movie.
Maybe he's just fighting him to see how the suit holds
because he's
up.
a sparring buddy, because him and Banner are totes mates.
Totes mates. Yeah, okay, maybe. All right. Just a few days ago, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and the new Amazing Spider-Man franchise was talking about the future of the characters in the movies, and he was open to the idea that Peter Parker might pass the torch to Miles Morales. However, it looks like that's not going to happen. Ever. Rumour is that Andrew Garfield will be stepping down after Amazing Spider-Man 3, and surely a reboot isn't going to happen, so recasting is likely. Even though in the comics, Peter Parker isn't the only Spider-Man, with Miles Morales and Miguel O'Hara both having worn the spandex. But now producer Avi Arad has spoke to Playlist and made it very, very clear that that's not going to happen. No, he said, the only thing you cannot do when you have a phenomenon that has stood the test of time, you have to be true to the real character inside. Who is Peter Parker? What are the biggest effects on his life? Then you can draw in time and you can consider today's world in many ways. But to have multiple ones, I don't know if you remember, but Marvel tried that and it was almost the end of Spider-Man. So, that's the end of that. So, the question now is, if Garfield steps down after Spider-Man 3, who's going to play him?
Do you think they're just going to do the James Bond thing?
And just
like Spider-Man 4, Spider-Man 5, Spider-Man 6, just different actor?
Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of hope
Are they going to go for somebody with the likeness of Andrew Garfield, or are they going to go for something completely different?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo could not be more
they look nothing
unlike.
Yeah.
Unlike?
Not alike.
Not alike. You know,
I think a lot of people are going to go into like Batman versus Superman and just sit down and go, "This is the Christian Bale universe. This is the continuing on from that."
Yeah.
You know, and people are going to be thinking that this Batman that Ben Affleck's playing is the same guy who took on Bane in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think it's going to get very confusing because I think also people are going to still be a big part of the fans, if you will, that are going to go see Batman and Superman are going to be the fans of the Christian Bale Batman of the Christopher Nolan movie. So they're going to think that's the same guy. And then Gotham, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, is going to be running alongside it. And they're going to think, that's that young Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, in the same universe. And they're going to think that the Selena Kyle that we see in Gotham will grow up to be Anne Hathaway in The Dark Knight Rises.
Exactly. And does that Green Arrow guy that's in Arrow, is he going to be the same Arrow that's in this Justice?
In the Justice League movie, yeah.
I think there's too many threads there.
Yeah, plot strands and different universes all kind of crashing together.
Yeah, because I know the hardcore comic
overlapping
fans, people like ourselves. I mean, I know we're not the biggest comic fans, but we get this. It's okay. We know that Arrow isn't part of the Justice League.
Yeah, it's not in the same universe.
We know that when Gotham comes out, it's not that
Batman. Whereas Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in the same universe as Iron Man.
And I think we know that. That's okay. We can take that as a given. But the average viewer is going to be a little bit
trying to explain that to the norms, the regular people out there in the universe.
Yeah, and then what'll happen is, if this all we talked last week about how Fox wants to make like X TV series, and we're getting S.H.I.E.L.D., we're going to be getting Daredevil,
and we get the Defenders miniseries as well.
What happens if DC comes along and thinks, you know what, let's make a Robin TV series. Let's introduce Robin and have a Robin TV series, and then you're like, well, this one ties in, but that one doesn't.
And then on top of that, what if they do a Star Wars and go, oh yes, actually all of this is in our continuity now, or all of this isn't in our continuity now.
Yeah.
And then they have tiers of different continuity levels. And
so I think while even the likes of me and you might be a little bit sort of, so wait, that doesn't happen in this universe? The average viewer is going
to need, like the Star Wars fact file.
Yeah.
I think they'll have to release that with a TV guide every week, just so people can keep up to date with what's in what continuity.
It's like whenever we were watching Game of Thrones, I bought the SFX guide to Game of Thrones. I need this. I need to read this.
You're sitting there with it on your lap with like a red marker going, right, okay, so that's happened and this ties into that. And
his nephew is the one with the long hair and the beard. They all have long hair and beards.
I'm just imagining behind...
Even the women.
Behind your DVD and Blu-ray shelf, in your living room, you pull that back, there's a massive Stark family tree.
Just drawn with like red tacks and photographs.
And like X's through the ones that died.
Thread. Okay. Remember a few weeks ago it came out that Batman and Superman and Captain America were going to be released on May the 6th, 2016.
I remember that, yeah.
And then Disney, Dan Feldman from Warner Brothers said he's not backing down. And then Bob Iger said that, from Disney, said that they're still a little bit unsure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the gloves are off now.
The gloves are off. Bob Iger has now said that Disney will hang on to the May opening slot for Marvel's movie with Avengers Age of Ultron and Captain America 3 in 2016. Also, he said he's seen Guardians of the Galaxy and confidently said that he's not going to predict we have another Avengers on our hands, but it's certainly a goal. Right, so they're not backing down. Batman vs Superman is going to be on screen 1, and on screen 2 you're going to have Captain America, or vice versa.
Are you double dipping? Easy?
Yeah.
Yeah, both on the same day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, because we've had this discussion before, and I'm prepared for it.
Boy off.
Yeah, because the you're taking a day off
right now.
No, it's a religious holiday. Really? What type of religious holiday?
Comic fan.
Yeah.
Shut your face.
Batman vs Superman and Captain America 3. God wants me to see these on the same day.
Yeah, I'm part of the Church of Marvel. Shut your face.
And the best thing is as well, like you've seen Lisburn Omniplex, my neck of the woods. We've got a cinema, and right across from that we've got restaurants and stuff.
Man.
So we're going to live there. Like me and Nadine are probably just going to sit and camp out there all weekend.
What's up, guys? I'm Daniel Logan. Make sure you stay tuned. If you don't, just remember, my bounty always can be on you. I'll see you in the dark side, guys. Enjoy the galaxy and stay following the nerd.
Fox and Warner Bros. TV revealed earlier today, during the week, through the official Twitter account, that Gotham is officially set for a full season. The number of episodes will be at least 13. In addition, the trailer has premiered on 24, which started during the week. The trailer looks promising, includes some of the previously announced villains in our first official look at Poison Ivy and Jada Pinkett Smith's Fish Mooney. Gotham is
Fish Mooney?
Yeah, she's a gangster called Fish Mooney.
Fish Mooney.
Okay, right, now, Have to say, wasn't excited about this at all. This trailer works.
Well, that's what I said to you on the motorway on the way up here. Like, you know, it's... Before, whenever they announced it, I was like, what? Why? What is like a Batman TV series with no Batman? What is the point in this? And the more I heard about it, the more I was kind of going,
I know.
And then the trailer hits and I'm like, you know, I'm not going, this looks amazing, I can't wait. You know, I'm kind of going, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Ruth is in the house. Ruth, have you seen this?
No.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Moving on.
Laters.
Yeah, no, it looks a lot more hard-boiled than I expected. It's I expected it to be more sort of light-hearted and a wee bit
Arrowish.
Yeah, but it looks quite.
Well, do you know what?
CSI.
It's not without its charm. It's not without its kind of arrowishness. Is that a phrase?
I don't know.
I'm coining that.
Okay.
Arrowish. Right, smell the fart acting, as you so rightly say.
Yeah.
But no, there's just something about it that looks watchable.
Yeah, I think they've done something very surprising, because I am on site for this now, and I wasn't a couple of weeks ago. I think this is very surprising.
My one issue with it that I had from the start, I still have, and the trailer hasn't done anything to dissipate this, and I don't even think watching the series will make me think any different. But you watch that trailer, right, and say you watch an episode of it. If you take away Bruce Wayne's name and replace it with John Smith, it could just be any other show. It could be any show that rivals CSI, it rivals NCIS. You know, there's nothing in it that's, you know, ultimately Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and without sounding too harsh, there are some things in it where you go, that's quintessentially Batman. You know, there's a great scene in the trailer where Bruce Wayne is up on the edge of Wayne Manor, kind of mastering his fear.
Yeah.
You know, that's very Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got Selena Kyle watching him from the shadows, you know, like that's very Batman. And I like the idea that this TV series seems to be expanding upon the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Gordon.
Yeah, well, I mean, because we discussed this earlier on, this is going to be a very different continuity than anything we have seen before. Because in the comics, while Gordon plays a big part in young Bruce's life, he doesn't play this sort of part. And in this, it looks like he's almost going to be a mentor to him. And even in Batman Begins, it very much set up that, Gordon took him under his wing the night his parents died. But that was kind of it.
Yeah, that was it. Because even in The Dark Knight Rises, there's that callback, that horrible, horrible callback, where Bruce Wayne goes,
Bruce Brain.
Bruce Brain.
Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah, that's his alternate universe title. But, you've got that line where he says, like, a hero can be anyone. Like, a guy putting a jacket around a young boy's shoulders to make him know that the world didn't end. And Gordon's like, Bruce Wayne?
Yeah, because he works out he's Bruce Wayne from that, but not from the fact that
he
Batman
looks like Bruce
obviously
Wayne.
has more money than anybody else on the planet.
Yeah.
And that Bruce Wayne disappeared for 7 years.
Yeah, and then whenever
Batman
he came back,
none of that made sense.
No,
but the coat thing instantly clicked. Right.
Well done, Gordon. Well done. Good lad.
But not that we don't love Batman Begins. We do love Batman Begins.
Faked his own death to take down the Joker. Couldn't work out who Batman was.
Yeah.
That needs to be a meme. We need to create that.
Right, okay. The Phantom is being remade.
Oh my god, is Billy Zane back?
No!
No!
Seriously, reports are coming in that Mark Gordon Company and Management 360 are looking to reboot the classic serial hero, The Phantom, and that executive producer Drew Simon is looking for a writer for the project. Would anybody want to write The Phantom?
I want to write it!
The Phantom was last seen on the big screen, played by Billy Zane in 1996, and in 2009 Sci-Fi tried a reimagining series which is even worse than the Zane outing. Can you imagine?
Anything worse than the Zane outing?
I mean, wow. Ruth, you must have seen this movie.
Yeah, I don't want to imagine.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's wild.
Was he not Strength of 10 Tigers? Was that not the Phantom?
Yeah, he was kind of like a white version of Black Panther.
Right, okay.
Wasn't he?
White Panther.
He was White Panther.
White Panther.
60% of the time it works. Every time.
White Panther. Are
they endangered?
Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, I
like
have to say
all I remember from God, I was going to call him White Panther there. What's it called?
The Phantom.
The Phantom. The Purple Phantom.
Oh, right.
Easy.
I'm pretty sure
because I remember the outfit, which was terrible. It
Yeah.
looked like something you would buy from Argos.
Yeah,
you
it was
know?
like a skin-tight purple outfit with muscles stitched into it.
Yeah, it was awful.
And
I
a
remember,
dynamo mask.
And I remember like the skulls or something as well. And like this guy was using a skull with a laser coming out of it.
Yeah.
I could have been high at this point.
No.
But that was wild.
You wish you were.
And like he was using the laser to take down somebody, and like a guy like is shouting at him, and he turns with the laser in his hand and obliterates the guy.
Yeah, well, that movie, they're remaking that.
They're remaking that.
Paramount Pictures and Skydance Productions have announced that Doctor Who star Matt Smith is going to join the cast.
He's going to be joining the cast of the Phantom.
All we know is that Smith will play a character with a strong connection to John Connor. Smith is best known for playing the Doctor on the popular Doctor Who TV series. Who wrote this? During 2011 to 2013.
It was 2010.
He can next be seen on the big screen in Lost River, directed by Ryan Gosling.
Which was originally called How to Catch a Monster.
Okay, right, Matt Smith. Now, we talked about this on the way down to Dublin the other day.
Yeah,
there's a great idea here. He has to be the Doctor.
Yeah.
In the Time War.
He does. Because it has to be called
War.
Terminator Genesis and then brackets of the Daleks.
Yeah, definitely. But, I mean, the only news here really is that Matt Smith, because we don't know anything. It's just that Matt Smith's going to be in Terminator.
Originally, looking at him, I thought he could play like a younger or an alternate universe version of Robert Patrick.
Right.
Because he's got the ears.
He's got the ears.
He's got the ears for it.
But he's got a big forehead
and a massive chin as well. Well, you see that's the original scientist, and then whenever he went on to make the T-1000, he decided to shave the chin off and fix the head and stuff, and he turned into Robert Patrick.
Legend Jerry has said
he regenerated.
Legend Jerry has said you are barred from writing the Phantom.
I'm barred from writing the Phantom?
Yeah.
Bring it on, big man.
Bring it on, big man. Yeah, no, he says that's not going to happen.
Oh, that is happening. I'm writing the
Is it just
Phantom.
because he wishes no one would write it?
Or does he want to write it?
Saxon is barred from writing the Phantom. Phantom was one of the classic defenders of the Earth. Mandrake. Anyway, right, so...
Soundbite.
It's just the absolute look of horror on your faces.
Well, there's the trailer for this week's podcast. Absolute look of horror.
What the hell is he talking about? What the hell is he talking about?
It was more the singing that was horrifying.
Ruth.
Sorry.
There's no need for that, like.
Saucer milk, table 2. Meow.
According to the Hollywood Reporter, Jared Butler has dropped out of Point Break.
Yay!
Butler was set to play the bank-robbing surfer Bodie, the role originally played by Patrick Swayze, opposite Luke Bracey, who is playing the hotshot FBI agent Johnny Utah, originally played by Keanu Reeves. Sources tell THR the parting ways occurred because of multiple factors. Right, but the movie is going ahead.
See, all we need now is for the director to drop out, all the other actors to drop out, the production company to drop out, and it'll be amazing.
Yeah, and then to call it something completely different. Right.
Yeah.
Let's call...
Just forget about it forever.
Let's call Stuart from the Monday Movie Show.
Out on the town with his mates this week as well. Stuart's got a social life.
What's this, Stuart? His friends?
Yeah.
Stuart.
I saw photographic evidence of it.
You were right. You were like socialising and stuff.
Yes, I know. Surprise, surprise, I have friends.
But
day
like,
class or something?
like a human.
Yes, like a human friend. It's not a beach ball or something like that, or I didn't run into some clothes shop and nick the mannequin.
Well, right. Not this time.
Yeah,
no. Let's go into the top 10 then.
Outside the top 10 first, Brick Mansions.
See, he always
Every
does it.
time.
You see, he
Every
gives me
time.
nothing. You give me nothing, Stuart. I run with it a wee bit, and then you cut me off at the heels. What's the story?
Yeah, why not? With that, I've got 4 pieces of news quickly. I don't know if you were going to mention these, but Chris Hemsworth is going to be up for the lead role in the Lethal Weapon reboot remake.
Yep.
That's that story
Throw
done.
that out.
Okay,
Throw
what
that
else you got?
Yep. There's a new Flintstones movie coming.
Yep.
Yep,
Get rid of it.
that's that
Get rid
one
of
done.
it. Next
Go
one.
ahead.
Next one.
There's a new Power Rangers movie coming.
Yep. Get rid of it.
Right, go ahead.
Get rid of it.
And Jared Butler has quit the remake of Point
We
Break.
just talked about that.
Okay, everyone,
Well,
thank
I
you for
haven't
tuning
been
in.
listening because I've got a social life.
Okay, everyone, thank you very
See,
much
that's
for listening.
That's
I
what
have
happens.
been Mark.
I have been Saxon.
And Ruth.
Thank
Bye.
you for tuning
Good
in.
night.
That's
And
the
I'm
end of
not
the
allowed back on the show ever again.
See, that's what happens. They get a social life and then they think they're better than everybody else.
I love it. I
am
haven't been
now.
listening. I
Here it is.
Stuart was laughing.
Oh my god.
Stuart,
It's like being
all
around
the
other
time
people
I've
made him
known you,
human.
I think that's the first time I've heard you laugh.
I do laugh. It's rare. It is really rare.
He kind of chuckles, like Muttley. He's got that kind of
Yeah.
thing going on.
Like your dangerous uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That smells really bad, and he's not actually your uncle.
Disclaimer, that does not describe me.
But it does describe your uncle. Right.
I think we should just get on to the top 10.
Yeah, please do.
Please do.
Number
That's
10.
it.
Oh, for God's sake, Stuart, what is it now?
Nothing, just go ahead.
You sound like my mum. What is it now? Here's the thing, right? We were driving to Dublin on Saturday, and I was talking to Saxon, and I said, I gave him a lend of my latest Ghostbusters collection comics, right? And I said to him, quite innocently, making conversation, "Did you read that Ghostbusters comic yet?" And he looked at me and he went, "I don't have time for comics, all right? I am so busy. I just don't have time." I thought he was my mum. I thought I was like, who let my mum into the car? I only asked you an innocent question.
I've been possessed by Mrs. Savage.
Yeah.
Oh,
right. Anyway, sorry, Stuart.
Right,
top 10.
Can we do this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 10. It's our first new entry of the week. It's Plastic.
It's a comedy drama starring Will Poulter, who won the Rising Star Award at the BAFTAs this year.
Oh, yes, that's the guy from We're the Millers.
Yes. It's a slightly more serious role for him. It's just about him and a group of friends who need to pull off a bank heist to try and raise $5 million so they can get these diamonds. It's not very good. Simple as that.
I'm going to start a thing called Stuart Miller's four-word review.
Yeah,
it's not very good. It's not very good. And you have to do them as audio clips. People have to click them. You don't just read it. You have to say it.
Yeah, no, it's like, find out the star rating here, and then you click on and it just says, it was alright.
Stuart, this is going to be a thing. We're going to do this.
Okay, fine.
Let's do it with the rest of the top 10 as well, now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's just run through them.
Wow,
And just
sorry, Mum.
4-word review. Number 9, it's Calvary.
Brilliantly acted. There's a 2-word review for you.
Gonna get down to one word, then one syllable, then a...
Yeah,
just a noise.
For the rest of them, it's just like,
Yeah, no one.
Yeah.
Right.
Number 8, it's Transcendence.
Wally Pfister is a good DP. He's not a very good director because this film just doesn't have any good structure to it. The acting is not very good at all, and there's too many ideas on show, and they don't always work.
Number 7, it's Noah.
Snorefest for the first half an hour, and after that it becomes a bit more interesting. When it gets out into the ark, when the floods have happened, that's when the most interesting part of the film takes place. But go in after the first half an hour.
Number 6, it's Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Has the best structure, I think, out of all the Marvel films. It flows the best as well, but it still has a few problems.
Number 5, it's Rio 2.
Pretty much the same as the first one.
Number 4, it's our second new entry of the week, Tarzan.
Kaelin Lutz plays Tarzan. Enough
said.
My son went to a birthday party the weekend, and this is the movie that the birthday boy decided he wanted to go and see. And he came back, and I says, "How was the party?" And the party was alright. Tarzan's terrible.
I think that needs to be on the poster.
Yeah, party was alright. Tarzan's terrible.
Caleb Savage, 8.
Yeah. Tells it like it is.
Number 3, it's another new entry, our final new entry of the week, Pompeii.
Yeah, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, the guy who did Resident Evil. It's okay for the first hour. Once the volcano erupts, once Vesuvius erupts, that's when it becomes a big, massive CGI snorefest.
Number 2, it's The Other Woman. Number 1, it's The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
The very average Spider-Man 2.
Dead to me. Right, now, you've got a few reviews this week.
I have.
There's
three films out. Well, Bad Neighbours is a weird one because it was released in cinemas on Saturday just gone, yet the distributors are holding it back from its official release until tomorrow to actually be included in next week's charts, so it's actually released worldwide. So it'll have had 7 days of previews and then 2 days of officially being released, so technically 9 days of takings before it's entering the charts, and so that's the longest any film's ever had. And over the period of its 5 days of preview takings, it took something like 5 million. So it would have been this week's number 1 if it was included in this week's charts, which it should have been. But it's a comedy. with Seth Rogen in it and Zac Efron. Zac Efron plays this guy who's the leader of this fraternity house who moves in alongside Seth Rogen. And he's told to keep the noise down. Seth Rogen calls the police, breaks a pact between them both, and so a war ensues between the two households. It's not funny at all. I laughed at one joke near the end of the film when there's a fight between both Seth Rogen and Zac Efron. He grips onto a light fixture and he falls down and lands on his bottom. And that's the funniest thing about the film.
Did you just listen? Is it still uncool to like Seth Rogen?
Yeah.
Joe, I think he's got a good movie in him.
I like Seth Rogen.
I think he's got a good movie in him.
But
the thing is, it's just...
I like him, yeah.
Because I liked him in Zack and Mary.
I want him in Ghostbusters 3.
Sabotage.
Is it any good? Is it any good?
It's the latest film from David Ayer, who did End of Watch. And it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. It's actually got a pretty good cast in it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sam Worthington, Terrence Howard, Josh Holloway. So it's got a really good cast in it. It's just the same set piece done over and over and over again, stitched with shaky camera stuff from End of Watch. And Arnold Schwarzenegger swearing a lot along with his cohorts in the film and just blasting people's heads off.
That sounds amazing.
I know, yeah, I'm in.
I want to see that.
It looks really gory as well.
It's extremely gory. I think it's got the most swearing I've ever heard in a 15-rated film, beating South Park Bigger, Longer and Uncut. And that supposedly holds the record.
I
but
just got that.
Yeah, the amount
Bigger,
of...
Longer and Uncut
I
reference?
Got that reference.
Really?
Yeah, I just
It took you that long.
Oh, wee Mark.
I never really thought...
Wee Mark?
He's all grown up now.
Not exactly the time or place. I just got that. And now I feel myself flushing. Moving on.
Easy.
But honestly, it just became repetitive. It's fine for the first half an hour, 40 minutes, where you're thinking, I'm hoping it's going down a gritty route, like his previous films, because that's what David Ayer is really good at doing, very gritty, realistic kind of films. But every single scene, like I said, seems to be a copy of the last one. Just the deaths in it is just slightly tweaked.
So basically it's like a Terminator movie.
Pardon?
So basically it's like a Terminator movie.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, out of 5?
It's a 2.
Okay.
So in the audio quote territory, that would be up there with, I'd say read.
It's,
Right, there we go, there's our audio quote. It's,
Okay, what's the next release of the week?
The final film is The Wind Rises. It's the final film from Hayao Miyazaki. It's his final film for Studio Ghibli. And you can probably guess where I'm going with this.
Well, can I just say, I just saw the trailer for this today, because I know you've been talking about it for the last few weeks, and I caught the trailer today. It was actually on, I think it was on YouTube, at the start of something I was watching, and it looks beautiful.
Well, it centres around Jiro, who his aspirations is to become a pilot, but he's got something wrong with his eyesight. So then he becomes a person who creates aircrafts instead for the Japanese fighters in World War One. And he falls in love with a girl, and it's just about the relationship with that and his relationship with building aeroplanes, etc. And that sounds boring. But anything like that in the hands of a master like Hayao Miyazaki, he can take just a movie about a flower and stretch it across 90 minutes and make it the most engaging, inviting film ever created. And this, with it being his final film, with it being his swan song, it's his most realistic film he's ever done. There's no fantastical elements with the film. It's Hayao Miyazaki's been noted to do more fantastical kind of films. You look at things like My Neighbor Totoro or Spirited Away. It's always got a fantastical element to it, and it always centers around a female protagonist rather than a male protagonist. Well, the last couple of films from Studio Ghibli, the last one from Up on Poppy Hill, which was done by Isao Takahata, that was mainly focusing on the male character. In this one, that's the same with this, and it's his most realistic film, and it's beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. Because he's stuck with the same kind of animation technique he's used from doing Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind up to now, which is he has painted backgrounds and then he animates characters on some of these painted backgrounds. And I think if you look at films in about 20, 30 years' time with animated films, the CGI ones are going to be the ones that are going to look the most ropey. Yet if you look at these kind of movies, they're still going to hold their own. It's more like The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz was done well over 70 years ago, and you look at that and it still holds up, I think. And I think it's going to be the same with all Studio Ghibli films. And with this being his last film, it's a good way for him to go out because it's his most realistic and it's his most private piece when it comes to filmmaking, and it's just outstanding. The music is perfect because he uses Joe Hisaishi, who's worked with him in every single film that he's done, everywhere from Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind all the way up to this one. And so the music is spot on. The characters, you fall in love with the characters. You get to know the characters throughout the movie because it's a very simple film. And you feel when bad things happen to the characters. It's just superb. Absolutely superb.
Okay, I don't feel like I even really need to ask here, but out of 5?
I've never given a Studio Ghibli film less than a 4, but this is a 5.
Okay, now is this another one of these sort of limited release kind of things?
It's getting released in 2 forms. It's getting released in the Japanese original with the subtitles, and it's getting released in the English dub, which features the cast of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays the lead character in it, and Emily Blunt as well, Stanley Tucci. Even Werner Herzog crops up in the English language remake of it, and William H. Macy as well. So it's got a brilliant cast of actors doing the voiceovers. And from what I've heard, because I've seen it in the Japanese one, because that's the way I wanted to see it, the voiceover from the British actors, the English actors, is spot on. So it's very akin to the Japanese one.
Excellent. We'll keep an eye out for that. Okay, right now, Stuart, what's happening next week?
That's about it, actually. It's just all those films I've managed to actually see before next week, so that's it. Those are the new releases of the week.
Did you manage to check out Frank?
I haven't, because it's not officially released until tomorrow.
Right.
And so Andy is going to be the one who's going to be doing Frank.
Quite by accident, we ran 2 reviews of it because one of our reviewers managed to see it a few weeks ago because QFT here in Belfast played it. And he gave it 4 out of 5. He thought it was fantastic. Big Phil saw it last night at the first official press show, and he only gave it 1 out of 5. He thought it was absolutely dross. So it seems to be really one of those movies that's dividing. I think you need to be a fan of Frank Sidebottom. To be honest with you, it was all kind of lost on me. Were you a fan of it?
Again, I think I'm with you there. It was lost on me as well.
Okay. Also, we'll have you on the show next week as well, but I am going to see Godzilla on Monday night. So
yeah, I'll be seeing it on Thursday.
Okay, so we should.
How'd you wrangle that?
Because I rock. And with the abuse I get on air, you're not going. Can
I go?
No. No, because you just waited in 5 minutes ago and started giving me abuse. At least he gives me abuse every week.
Still worth a
try.
try.
I'm persistent.
Yes. So yeah, no, but I'm looking forward to that. Expectations for Godzilla?
I cannot wait for it.
It looks amazing.
I cannot wait for it. I've stopped watching any trailers. I've only seen, I think, the first 2 trailers for it. Stopped watching any trailers, stopped reading about anything to do with the film. I'm not even going to read any reviews whatsoever.
Except mine.
Even including yours.
What?
I'm not going to read your review at all. I'm going to go in it completely blind from what other critics think of it.
When is it out? The 15th?
Yeah.
It's officially released next Thursday.
Okay, Stuart, listen, until next week, tell everybody where they can check out the Monday Movie Show.
MondayMovieShow.co.uk or on Following the Nerd on Monday, and it goes out Sunday this week because of Andy again.
Okay, well, it'll be on Monday on the site with us.
Yep.
Listen, as always, mate, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Take care. May the force be with you, and we will talk to you next Thursday night.
I will catch you next week.
All right, brother. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
We were able to build a miniaturized arc reactor in a cave from a box of scraps. Following the Nerd. We're just that good.
This is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are following the Nerd.
Evil Dead sequels.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the new Evil Dead? Well, I say new, but the
remake.
Most recent
Yeah,
Evil
I have.
Dead.
It was gory as hell. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, Ruth, did you see it?
No, not interested.
Not your sort of thing?
No.
Any of the originals?
No.
No, just avoid.
Yeah, don't like it.
Right, it's just gory horror.
Yeah, I'll just sit quietly in the background again here. Sorry.
Okay. With your fingers in your ears going, la 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 la.
Okay, well, here's the thing, right? Surprisingly, and nobody was more surprised than me,
What?
I absolutely loved the Evil Dead remake.
Yeah, no, I was
really did. Wasn't even bothered about seeing it. We got sent a preview of it. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to watch this. Loved it. To be honest with you, out of the original Evil Dead movies, I like the second one.
But you like Army of Darkness.
I love the third one, and the
Yeah.
first one is the last for me.
Yeah.
Because I can appreciate it and everything else, but I
See,
don't.
I like
don't,
it because each movie's different.
Yeah.
You know, and I especially love the whole time travel aspect of the third one.
Yeah, but
this is my boomstick.
I love in the second, because the first one's an out-and-out, straight-faced, nasty horror movie. The second one, he injects the tongue-in-cheek, the humour, the dark sort of...
It's dark comedy.
And it's dark comedy, and I like that. And then by the time I get to the third one, it's pretty much out-and-out farce. And I like that even more. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, that was great.
Mostly because Bruce Campbell is one of the funniest guys on the face of the planet. Right,
Yeah.
but Shock Till You Drop caught up with Fede Alvarez, who directed the remake, reboot, reintroduction, whatever it was, and asked him if we were getting a sequel to the $97 million grossing horror movie. His answer certainly has hope in it. Sam Raimi is teasing Army of Darkness 2, and he's working on a script with his brother, but at the same time, Evil Dead 2 is something we definitely want to do at some point. But part of the reason I think the last one was successful is because Sam took his time to find the right team of people to do it. We took the time, we found the right script and all of that. If you had Evil Dead 2 coming out the following year, it's just for the market, not because you found the right idea. It takes time to find the right idea, and that's what we're doing. It's always in the background, it's always in our heads, that every time I talk to Sam, we're bouncing around ideas to find out what would be the perfect sequel. So, interestingly, where the Evil Dead movie comes in when set against the original trilogy, it's not a sequel, it's not a reboot.
It's a reimagining.
It kind of exists in a different universe, but is related.
Yeah, because of a certain cameo.
Well, I think we can say it at this stage. It's a year and a half later.
Okay,
Bruce Campbell pops up.
Yeah, Bruce
after
Campbell's
the credits.
at the end just to go groovy. And that's it.
So what's happening now is Sam Raimi is working on a sequel to Army of Darkness, which was the original.
Yeah, but we've heard about this for years.
Yes, but apparently he is working on it.
No, we've heard about that. Him and Ivan are just bashing out Army of Darkness 2.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be Evil Dead 4, it's going to be Army of Darkness 2.
Yeah, but I think he wants to do it now because he knows that there's
a market for it, there's a demographic for it.
And we're also going to get a sequel to Evil Dead, which was the remake,
the reimagining, yeah.
And I think these two movies are going to tie together. And I love that. Who would have thought that a movie
it's like a big Avengers crossover.
Yeah, it's like a universe
where you
now.
have the girl survivor at the end and just suddenly ashes out with a chainsaw hand.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, right. Take a little listen to this.
Go Power Rangers! You mighty morphin' Power Rangers!
Power Rangers. Put it back up again.
Him.
Back up.
Right in the face!
Too right.
Ow! My organs!
Right. As if the upcoming Legend War, I don't know what that celebrating is. 20 years of Power Rangers by bringing back every Power Ranger for a final battle. Wasn't enough nostalgia for you? It has been announced that a new Power Rangers movie is coming to a theatre near you too. Saban and Lionsgate are teaming up to bring the Power Rangers back to the big screen. Which one, you ask? Well, they're going right back to the original Mighty Morphin team.
It's Morphin time!
They want to re-envision Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Lionsgate is the perfect home for elevating our Power Rangers brand to the next level, said Power Rangers creator Haim Saban. In a statement, they have the vision, marketing prowess and an incredible track record in launching breakthrough hits from the Hunger Games to Twilight and Divergent.
Never mention those
really
in the same vein as Power Rangers.
In partnership with the Lionsgate team, we're confident that we will capture the world of the Power Rangers and translate it into a unique and memorable motion picture phenomenon, blah, 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 blah. Right, okay, so they're going right back. Now, my understanding of it, I gotta be honest, Power Rangers is kind of lost on me. My wee brother was into it.
Yeah.
And I took him to see the first movie.
Yeah.
And
I was into it as well.
Oh, were you? Okay.
As a kid.
Right.
I think it was one of my, because I loved Sooty and Sweep. And then from then I moved on to Power Rangers, and Power Rangers was like my second biggest kind of thing. You know, like I'm into Doctor Who now, and I just love Doctor Who to bits, and it's everything.
I hadn't noticed.
That's class. No, that's lost on you, but whatever. Yeah, because like whenever I was growing up, I always had certain trends that I was like super into, like 100%. I think the second biggest sort of thing after Studio and Sweep for me was Power Rangers.
Okay.
I just loved it to absolute bits, and it was only Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It was only the original series.
Right, because
after that they went into space, and like the Zords were trains, and it was nonsense and madness and stuff.
I can tell from Ruth's face that Ruth is a big fan of Power Rangers.
Oh,
totally lost on me. I just could never get into it as a kid.
All I understood from it as a kid was there was these teenagers.
As a kid, Ruth.
Yeah.
Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Seriously?
As an early teen, maybe?
Yeah. No, like I...
Let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say so.
As a 6-year-old, I couldn't get into Power Rangers.
No.
Let's be honest.
When I was 5, I had the Megazords.
Yeah, no, it was lost on me.
No,
but
as far as I understand it was just 6 kids, and they had these magical space watches, and they pressed the space watches, and
Ben 10.
the suits arrived, and they went to town and kicked some bad guys' asses, and then they would get their ass kicked by the bad guy. Then they would call out the Super Zords, who would never fight separately. They would always come together and build one big Megazord.
Yeah.
Like, why did that happen? Why not
some
just
of those
build?
toys were very cool, though.
Why not just build one big one? Like, because they have all the little ones come and build a big one immediately.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have one little one come and try and kick the bad guy's ass, and then that fails, so he calls his mates together.
Robo Rhino has failed. Let him become my left leg.
Yes, he will become the super duper Megazord of death, and like, you know, why not just build one big Zord and have them go to town on the bad guy? I don't understand that.
I don't.
But anyway, and then rinse and repeat every week.
Yes,
it was class. I loved it.
Was Scooby-Doo not good enough? No.
Well, Scooby-Doo was good, but it didn't have, like, a guy wearing a cardboard robot suit taking on a guy made out of gigantic, you know, those, like, kind of noodle things that you get in the pool, in the fun pool for kids. You know, like, made out of a costume of those, painted brown, smashing up a city that was made out of cardboard boxes with little windows drawn on them.
Anyway, so our own Todd and Following the Nerd, he is a big Power Rangers fan.
Is he?
Apparently this... Yeah, he is. He's such a big Power Rangers fan. So apparently this is big news. Right. The Stand movie, according to The Hollywood Reporter, The Fault in Our Stars actor Nat Wolff will be re-teaming with the director from that film, Josh Boone. Boone is attached to direct the adaptation of Stephen King's epic novel, The Stand, which is being made by Warner Brothers and CBS Films. THR reports that he's writing a part specifically for Wolff. This film is the third project the duo will have worked on together. Prior to The Fault in Our Stars, Boone was first cast, blah, 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 blah. The Stand has gone through several directors over the years, with Scott Cooper most recently on board to direct and write, before leaving the project in November. Before Cooper, Ben Affleck and David Yates were both attached as directors. The Stand chronicles an epic where Captain trips to the end of the world. The Stand, this frightens me. Has anybody read The Stand? Have either of you read The Stand?
No, I haven't read it. No.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay, it's an epic book. It's like 1,200 pages. It's a massive.
That's so selling it to me now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to go on holiday at some point, so I'll buy it and just sit for
Trust
hours
me,
on the beach.
You will read it
and just
in
read
a
it.
heartbeat like that.
Yeah.
It's one of those books that's like published on Bible paper. The paper's so thin so they can fit it all into one edition.
Right.
But it's an incredible story, and it's one of those things that they did it as a miniseries. Have you seen the miniseries come out a few years ago? Quite a few years ago, actually. Wow. Welcome to the Following the Nerd show, where we know what we're talking about. Anyway, it's too big. I don't even want to see a movie of it because, frankly,
yeah, number of times I've read that.
2 or 3 movies. Right. This is what Stuart was talking about earlier on. Lethal Weapon 5. The current rumour is that a 5th Lethal Weapon movie, which is rumoured to be called Lion Hunters.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. Will have Chris Hemsworth as Martin Riggs' son. Riggs, of course, was played by Mel Gibson in the first 4 movies. No word about Gibson's appearance at this stage, or Danny Glover as Murtaugh. According to Joe Blow, the recent version of the script centres on the desires of an older cop's son and his wishes to join the police force. But this is where it gets interesting. Apparently, Joel Silver will produce, and Justin Lin, who directed the last 3 or 4 Fast and Furious movies, is looking to direct from a story by Gangster Squad writer Will Beale. However, the hopeful doesn't stop there, as it's also rumoured that the original Lethal Weapon creator, Shane Black, who also was the man responsible for Iron Man 3, is going to be on board as well. Nothing else is known at this point, but needless to say, we'll keep you posted. Okay,
Lion Hunters?
I don't know.
What is the crack
I don't
with
even
that?
know where that even comes from. But, I don't know.
Well, this is another story that we've reported on so many times over the years now. Lethal Weapon 5 will centre on Martin Riggs' son and Murtaugh's grandson. Was it a boy or was it a girl at the end of Lethal Weapon 4? I can't remember, but anyway, one of his grandkids. And the two of them, like, going to the academy and training together and teaming up and stuff, and I'm too old for this, you know.
Yeah.
Like, that's been the story for years now.
Well, I don't have a massive problem with it, as long as they do it.
That and the fact that Martin Riggs' son was born in 1997, and now he's being played by Chris Hemsworth.
But is it that son? I sort of took this as meaning that he could have had another son somewhere that we
Really?
didn't know about.
Right, okay.
That kind of an idea. But maybe.
So that way they could do it just completely without Martin
to be
Riggs
honest
and Danny
with you,
Glover.
what this smells like to me is a reboot.
What this smells like to me, I can't say live on air.
But this to me smells like a reboot that Chris Hemsworth is actually going to be Martin Riggs.
Right.
You know, that sort of vibe.
Yeah, it could be Martin Riggs Jr., but they're not going to call him Jr.
Yeah. Ruth, Lethal Weapon.
Well, if Chris Hemsworth's in it, I'm up for it.
Aye.
Right. Okay. I was hoping for something a bit more creative there. Yeah. Do you like the Lethal Weapon movies?
The hot guys in the movie.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
But I like Chris Hemsworth, if I didn't make that clear.
Yeah, you might have mentioned.
My favourite Marvel movies are the ones where Chris Hemsworth takes his top off.
Personally,
how did you know that?
I'll call it a hunch.
Personally, I'm sort of on the fence about it.
I think it's nonsense.
The fact that Justin Lin and Shane Black are involved does give me a little bit of hope.
Yeah, but I think it's Land Hunters.
I know.
Shut up.
I don't know.
If you're gonna completely dig Lethal Weapon into the complete ground after Lethal Weapon 4 had a fair crack at that.
I like Lethal Weapon 4.
Yeah.
It always annoyed me how they beat Jet Li though.
It annoyed me that Martin Riggs had short hair.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, right.
Sorry.
Sad.
Right.
It's so sad. Martin Riggs has long, curly, gorgeous hair. That he can flick his hair back like in a L'Oreal commercial.
I love the look on his face right now.
I know.
Right, the Flintstones are coming back because they needed that.
Yeah, but right, okay. Again, another story that we've reported on countless times. But the last we'd heard, Seth MacFarlane of TV's Family Guy was going to bring it back as an animated TV series.
Yeah.
But now the crack is here that I love this. Talent Vacuum, Will Ferrell and Adam McKay are executive producing a new animated Flintstones movie at Warner Brothers. There's no word yet on directors or voice talent, but we can assume that this is actually going to happen as the script is written by The Campaign scribe Chris Henchy. The Campaign, what an excellent, funny movie that was. The last Flintstones movie, Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas, is 14 years old.
14 years old.
How can that be possible? Stupid eventual progression of time. Why?
I don't know. See, anything with Will Ferrell involved in it, because honestly...
Now, in all fairness, Will Ferrell, while most of his stuff is terrible, I have a weak spot for the guy. I like certain movies that he's done. Like, I like Step Brothers. I like Anchorman. I like Elf. But then, the last, kind of major 60s TV series that he tried to reboot was Bewitched. And we all remember the train wreck.
What is that other one he did? Remember the one with the lizards underground and stuff?
What?
He did another one. What was that? Can anybody help me? Somebody tell me.
Lizards Underground?
Yeah, what was the last Will Ferrell movie that he was in?
Oh, Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost.
Yeah, it was pants.
Did you watch
that?
It
was god-awful.
Yeah, because Will Ferrell was in it.
Yeah.
Elf is really good, but that's because Zooey Deschanel spends the whole day dressed like...
That's true, dressed like an elf, yeah.
Which works.
Yes, it does.
On several levels.
And she's blonde in it as well.
Yes, which
and
works on
weird.
Several levels. Right, Goonies 2. Everyone's talking about Goonies 2 and if it's going to happen, and it seems like maybe the stars are just as in the dark as we are. Did you watch this? No?
No.
Okay. Huffington Post were doing a live video interview with Goonies star Sean Astin, him too, which was hijacked by another Goonies star, Corey Feldman's star, who wanted to know if the sequel to the 1985 movie was actually going to happen. What's happening with Goonies 2? That's what everybody wants to know. He asked, what are we doing? Aston told him, nothing, you're terrible. No. He says, I happen to know that we're actively trying to secure a writer based on an outline that we are really confident about. He also said that Steven Spielberg will ultimately be the person who greenlights the movie. When Steven, who ultimately is the decision maker in this, when he has felt the magic and he and Richard Donner are in agreement, which I believe will happen, then it will be a thing. Goonies 2, do not care. Okay. Is that just me?
I couldn't care less.
I really don't. I don't get.
I never got into the original movie. I couldn't get it. Yeah. That's kind of it.
Hello, this is John Leeson. But he doesn't sound like that. The voice of K9, and I am following the nerd.
Star Wars Rebels. Have you watched this trailer?
Of course.
It
the world has watched
it
this
looks
trailer.
Pretty cool, right?
It looks awesome.
I couldn't get it to stream. Every time I tried to, it wouldn't work because
so many people were watching it.
It looks really good.
It looks unbelievable.
Really good.
It looks really good.
Lucasfilm has revealed the full trailer for the upcoming animated series Star Wars Rebels. You can, of course, watch it on followingnerd.com. The trailer offers many new glimpses at sequences from the show, including the starship Ghost chased by TIE fighters, young Ezran watching as a Star Destroyer looms overhead, stormtroopers marching, a zero-G fight between heroes and Imperials in Canaan, a secret Jedi assembling his lightsaber and preparing for battle. It ends, however, with an Imperial officer reporting to the Inquisitor, the Empire's Jedi hunter, seen and heard here for the first time. Star Wars Rebels is set between the events of Episode 3 and Episode 4. Right, you know what? I'm so on board with this.
Yeah.
I am so on board with this.
Definitely.
I love the animation. I love the look. I love what I can make so far of the characters. I love that Obi-Wan's going to be in it.
Yeah.
And he is going to be in it. I love the music. I love everything about it. So far, nothing about it has put me off.
No, absolutely not. And what I love especially is Kanan's character, the Secret Jedi.
Yeah.
I love the idea that he assembles his lightsaber before using it.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Because
Because if you watch Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, you have that scene where Qui-Gon's like putting something in his pocket, and like his little kind of over shawl thing kind of lifts up, and Anakin sees his lightsaber. Like, you know, it makes so much sense that his lightsaber is in pieces, so it's hidden.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just like one thing hanging from his belt. Everyone can go, "That's a lightsaber. You're a Jedi. Order 66. Take him down." You know, that makes so much sense that he takes it. And it's so cool the way he takes it and like snaps it together and then
just ignites it.
Yeah, it's class.
Yeah, no, everything about it looks pretty cool. It looks fun, and Star Wars should be fun.
It really has that kind of retro throwback feel to A New Hope and even Empire Strikes Back. You know, just where like they're out in space, they're doing their own kind of thing, and then the Empire gets in the way.
Yeah.
I like that.
One of the reasons why Episode 1 and Episode 2... Ruth has gone, everybody, by the way. I think the Star Wars thing just frightened her.
Yeah, I think we frightened her.
One of the reasons why I think Episode 1 and Episode 2 didn't work was because a lot of the fun was gone. It just wasn't fun. They didn't get the fun back until Ewan McGregor woke up and actually became Obi-Wan in Episode 3.
Episode 3, yeah.
Okay, I know it didn't come as much of a surprise. Walt Disney CEO Bob Iger confirmed during the week that the Q2 fiscal 2014 earnings conference called that at least 3 Star Wars films are in development beyond the new trilogy saga films. Up until now, only 2 standalone films were confirmed, one between episodes 7 and 8, and one between episodes 8 and 9, as seen in we have a graph on followthenerd.com, referred to in the past as the origin story films. We've heard rumours of possible spin-offs for Han Solo, Boba Fett, Yoda. All that is confirmed is that Larry Kasdan and Simon Kinberg are involved in the screenplays. Kathleen Kennedy has said that the characters in standalone films will not be in the saga films. There is no attempt being made to carry characters from the standalone movies in and out of the saga episodes. Consequently, from the creative standpoint, it's a roadmap that George made pretty clear. It's not clear if a young Han Solo counts, as technically young Han would not be in the saga films, but just his older self. Now, you asked me earlier on, just unrelated to this, you said to me, do you think we're going to get a Star Wars episode
10, 11, and 12?
No, I don't think we are.
Definitely not.
I don't think so. I think what has happened here is Disney have bought this. They're using these movies, 7, 8, and 9, to reintroduce everybody to Star Wars.
Yeah, and then
But
close out the actual main story.
Yeah, while I think they're going to do a good job of everything else, I think it's more like they feel they have to do this, and then once they're out of the way, they're going to go and do their own thing.
Yeah,
which
so
is what I
they're
think
gonna-
these 3 spin-off movies are going to set up. So last week there was a site claiming to know what the new Star Wars movie was called. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
We're not even going to tell you because everybody was putting this news around. It was pure
nonsense. Yeah.
Now, however, a new rumour is taking off, and it seems it may actually have a little weight to it. Ain't It Cool on other sites is claiming to have heard from reliable sources that the current working title for Episode 3 is
An Ancient Fear.
An Ancient Fear. See what they did there? A New Hope.
An Ancient Fear.
Yeah. It's sort of flipping on the head of the original movies A New Hope. Where do we like it?
Not really, but it makes sense.
Okay. Right. The report from the site also says they reached out to J.J. Abrams for a response but haven't heard anything. According to Screen Crush, the title allegedly refers to Max von Sydow's character, who's the overarching villain of the new trilogy. We're reckoning the actual title will be revealed at San Diego Comic-Con later this year, along with final casting news, etc. But for now, we're going to file this under massive rumour. In other news, we just talked about Rebels/film, chatted to John Morton, who played the pivotal role of Dak in The Empire Strikes Back, so clearly he's in the know.
Yeah, of course.
Remember Dak? Had like 2 lines and then got walked on by an AT-AT.
Yeah.
He seems...
You're like, hey, I think I could take on the whole Empire myself.
Yeah.
Really? Guys, Dak's got this.
He's a Family Guy?
Yeah.
Class.
Hey, Empire, get ready to suck some Dak.
Anyway, right. Dak seemed to have a lot to say about Rebels, the upcoming animated series. Rebels is the key, he said. Rebels will provide the link to bringing in the continuity from Clone Wars, the original trilogy, and the prequels to enable Lucasfilm and Disney to tee up Episode 7. If you want my informed opinion,
of course,
it will enable Episode 7 to leapfrog over the whole trilogy. Rebels will set up and point the direction for Episode 7. However, the most interesting thing in the statement was the characters they are creating in Rebels will still be around in Episode 7, even though it'll be some 30 odd years later.
Yeah.
Seriously though, we're going to go out on a limb here.
Yeah, I suppose. Because I was going to say, when is that set? But then again, Rebels is set between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So it will be a good 40-odd years.
40 years later. Seriously though, we're going to go out on a limb and question this, on why Dak would be so clued in the upcoming Disney Lucasfilm direction. For Star Wars, that said, the idea of Rebels tying into Episode 7 is pretty cool, and it is hinted that they will be part of the creation of the Rebel Alliance. That said, I would much rather see Ahsoka Tano or Galen Merrick in these movies.
Very much so. But on top of that as well, do you think maybe because Rebels is obviously about the formation of the Rebel Alliance, do you think Dak will have a major kind of role in there?
Oh!
Do you think?
That's interesting. Well, I mean, obviously he's not going to play by the same guy, but
no.
that character
his
would be
character
alive.
And a lot of the rebels that we see in the attack on the Death Star and
I
the
hadn't
New
even thought
Hope.
of that. That's interesting.
Do you think we'll see them get more backstories on them? You know, like Red 2, Red 3, Red 4.
That's possible.
And
yeah.
so on. And like we'll get more backstories
like
on
a
them.
Rogue Squadron movie or something.
Yeah,
that kind of
something like that.
Possible.
We'll see that in they'll have little arcs in Rebels, and every now and then you'll see one of the characters who goes on to pilot an X-wing in the Battle of Yavin.
All right, I like that. I like that idea. I hadn't actually thought of that.
Yeah,
but yeah, okay.
So maybe
good.
Dak is there.
But again, this is what I'm getting at. There's this massive universe that can be mined out there. Do whatever you want. There's a million characters out there. Of course, the Rembrandt and I'll Be There For You, which was the theme tune to
Battlestar Galactica.
Rules of Engagement. Of Friends, of course.
Friends, yeah.
Which, are you ready to
yeah.
feel old?
Prepare yourselves, people.
Friends ended after 10 years. It ended 10 years ago.
And began 20 years ago.
Friends is 20 years old.
That's right. Feel old. Unbelievable.
Wow.
I remember the final episode airing.
Yeah.
On Channel 4.
See, the funny thing is, I watched it because I was sort of, I was in my mid-teens whenever it came out, and I remembered it was one of those shows, the first series came out, and I was into it before anybody else, and then by the time the second series came out, everybody was into it, and I kind of felt like I'd lost a child. That kind of way, because it was sort of like, right, you know what, you can keep Friends because I liked it when it was cool.
Yeah,
and
I liked it first, mate.
Yeah, I liked the first, mate. You know the way you get like out of movies. Sometimes you're like, I've seen
yeah.
this amazing movie that nobody's heard about, and then everybody's talking about. You're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Screw that.
Posers.
And I thought at the time everybody was very fashionable, they were very cool and stuff, and I've watched it now. It's horrible,
isn't it?
It's horrible.
Like Chandler looks like he's trying to be eaten by a gigantic clothes monster.
Yeah.
Like his shirts are far too big
and
for
Joey
him.
Tribbiani with his big greasy hair, and it's just awful. Everything about it is terrible. But at the time it was very cool.
Yeah.
But now I know why it looks so dated. Because it's
20 years
old.
ago. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Isn't that mad?
Like, I remember the final episode airing on Channel 4, and like the whole day they had like a big Friends Day where like they like had the audience vote, and they played some of the best episodes the whole day, right? I actually faked illness to get off school. I was in high school whenever this ended. That's how long ago this was. And I faked illness. I sat in the living room all day, and I watched Friends on Channel 4 all day, right until the final episode. And I remember in the buffers between the ad breaks and the commercials on Channel 4, they would have this little thing flash across the screen for a few seconds, and it was the Friends logo, but it was repositioned, so it said ends Fry, as in it ends this Friday.
Very good. So
I like that. So yeah, that was 10 years ago. I was sitting in my pajamas going, ugh, I'm so sick, achoo, watching the final episode of Friends. Mm-hmm. Insane.
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
10
long years ago. And in that time, now, it's not even played on Channel 4 anymore.
I know.
It's not even played on E4 anymore. And E4, whenever that channel started, it's the sister show of Channel 4, all they did was show episodes of Friends.
Mate, to take it then that the Friends movie, which is supposed to be the celebration of 10 years later, isn't happening.
Ain't going ahead.
I think at this stage we'd have known.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston, though. Jennifer Aniston is even better looking now.
She's wild. She's up there with like the likes of Ernie Hudson as someone who just gets better looking the older they get. It's
amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Because
like she was in that We're the Millers last year as well, where she does that kind of on the nose strip dance sequence,
Yes.
And she looks unbelievable for a woman of her age.
Incredible.
Like, she looks wild.
Incredible. Okay.
And like on top of that as well, if you can imagine 10 years ago, Friends was kind of like Channel 4's version of The Simpsons. Because you know why they have The Simpsons now and they show it every night at 6 o'clock? That used to be Friends.
Yeah.
They used to show an episode of Friends every night at 6 o'clock, and then every Friday night at 9, they have a new episode of Friends, followed by a new episode of Frasier at 9:30.
Yeah. Friends was one of those shows that no matter when you put on TV, it was there.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of the episodes weren't suitable for,
Yeah,
there was a lot of big themes.
But the thing is, as well, on top of that, they were hacked to bits when they were shown during the daytime. There's one episode where Chandler is discovered watching sharks in a certain way. It's a bit of a misunderstanding with Monica. And it's edited so heavily that it doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Whenever it's played on TV. Like, for example, there's a scene where Monica comes in and says to Rachel, I've found Chandler doing something, and Rachel's like, what is it? And Monica goes, Chandler watches shark! And then it cuts immediately to the audience laughing. And you go, sorry, where's the joke there? And sometimes, they'll say something that's a little risky or use a slightly inappropriate word. Not swear, but use an inappropriate term. And that's cut out. And literally, you have this really rough edit where you hear the dregs of the canned laughter.
Yeah.
So, they go, hey guys, what'd you do today?
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, Friends.
10 years
ago, it ended. 20 years ago, it began.
Right, quickly too, Preacher is one of the comic book inspired TV shows that's coming up very soon, and Collider's been speaking to director Seth Rogen about directing the pilot episode and what we can expect from the series. And General Rogen says that they aren't just making up as they go along, but are working on developing the whole series plot, changing enough to surprise the fans, but keeping true enough to the DC Vertigo title that fans will still identify and love the character. Go on, admit it, that last sentence terrified you a little, didn't it? We're still in the writing phase, says Rogen, and we're signing on to direct the pilot if it gets picked up to get made. We really have to shape the whole series to some degree before you start writing a pilot, and we really wanted to change some of the ideas, not just to change them, but to expand on them, and emphasise some and de-emphasise others, and to shape some things that aren't so well shaped, and answer questions that aren't answered. And also, I honestly want to make it so that if you have read the comics, you still don't know what to expect. It's pointless just to make a literal interpretation of the comics. If you want that experience, just go read the comics. If you've got to do a lot more than that, that's right, it's a lot more work than I expected to shape the whole series in a weird way, and think like, oh, what season would this character come in? And then you would introduce this guy, and who does this go? Why does this go? Why is this guy here? Blah, 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 blah. So basically what Rogan's saying is that they want to keep Preacher very true to the comic book, but they're also prepared to change a lot of things as well. Well, I guess because Preacher, one issue comes out every month, there's probably not that many issues altogether, and they're probably hoping to run this for a few years. So I guess we have to expect changes, don't we?
Yeah, and the fact that I think this is kind of coming on the back of things like The Walking Dead, where it was a monthly comic book, and now they're they're firing out a TV series. And
I think we've seen it in Gotham, in the trailer for Gotham as well, but I think they now realise that just because it's a comic book doesn't mean they can't do it straight-faced and seriously and take it seriously.
Yeah.
I think that we know, we've established now that can happen.
That, and I think that comic books are better suited to being serialized.
Yes.
They're better suited to TV series because you can tell an overarching story, you can tell an overarching plot, something which you can't do and you can't get fully invested in a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, right. I think that's pretty much us for the night. There was a couple of other stories we didn't quite get to. If you're curious about what those are, then check out our website. No miss.
Go to bed.
Yeah, check out our website at followingthenerd.com. You can get us at any time on Twitter and Facebook. Tweet us at nerdfollowing. Get us on Facebook at facebook.com/followingthenerd. And if you want to watch this madman's awesome videos,
Thank you.
Go to
www.youtube.com/VoteSaxon07. Or, alternatively, go to youtube.com and in the search bar at the top, type in Vote Saxon07, VOTESAXON07, and let the madness begin.
What's coming up this week?
Lego Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles submarine set.
Looking forward to that.
So we're getting that reviewed over the weekend. My Invasion Dublin montage.
Love it.
Is up there as well. If you guys want to take a look at that, that's live now.
It is. And it's also on followingthenerd.com.
It's also on followingthenerd.com. Yes, indeed it is. And then after that, what is coming up? Other assorted madness. International re-releases of Screwdrivers and Hot Toys. We've got some Hot Toys figures, so they'll be on their way. Debating whether or not I should do the blind bag Simpsons figures.
Maybe just as a group.
There's all 16 in the one video. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of maybe firing out a wee video to do with those as well. Nerd news as well. as always.
Okay.
So a little roundup of our top stories, that sort of thing. 4-minute nerd news video.
Busy man. So give us that again.
Indeed. That's youtube.com/vote-Saxon07. Subscribe, like, comment, share, and whatever you do, click the adverts. That's how I get money.
Okay, this is Shine 102.4 FM, and you have for the last 2.5 hours been following the nerd. Thank you very much to our very, very special guests tonight. It has always a pleasure to speak with Amanda Ladd about the amazing documentary Laddie, which we're really hoping to see, and Warren Elsmore. And anybody that's in sort of the Belfast, Northern Ireland area, from May 17th, head over to the Titanic Quarter and check out his amazing Brick City display, not to be confused with the absolutely dross movie Brick Mansions. So we're looking forward to that. And you know what, I might bring a microphone with me next week and maybe sort of grab a wee quick interview with him.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Might do. Okay, this, as I say, is Shine 102.4 FM. You have been following the nerd. I have been Mark.
I have been Saxon.
As always, sir, thank you very much for coming into the studio.
Always a pleasure.
It's been a larf.
It has been larf and a harf.
And thank you very much to Ruth, who just decided to pop in briefly and then...
And just completely disappear without saying
once
anything.
We started talking Star Wars.
Yeah, no, the thing is, it was kind of like, you know, in The Dark Knight Rises, where Batman's talking to Catwoman, he turns away and turns back and she's gone.
Yeah.
That was Ruth.
Yeah.
Like, you and me were sitting chatting away about Star Wars, we go, so Ruth, what do you think about... Ruth? Gone.
So thank you very much. And as always, thank you to the loyal listener, reader, follower, watcher, whatever.
Stalker.
Without you guys, there wouldn't really be any point in doing it. And listen, a very special thank you, of course, to Media Team and to the Emerald Garrison, who made us feel very, very welcome at the weekend at Star Wars Invasion Dublin. We had a blast, didn't we?
It was amazing.
It was such good fun.
It was class. Like, the interviews, the guests, the audience, it was all just absolutely fantastic.
And the kids were amazing, weren't they?
Particular highlight, of course, was Alan Rusko, Plo Koon himself, inviting all of the kids up on stage during the guests quiz.
Yeah.
You know,
and me
because
listening for the creak in the boards.
Yeah, just as the stage collapses, yeah.
Anyway, but listen, we did have an absolute
ball.
No,
it was amazing.
And to everyone out there that's listening, in the immortal words of the late, great Dave Allen, until next week, may your gods go with you. Good night.
Farewell. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Remember to download next week's podcast, or if you want to hear the full show, you can stream it live every Thursday night from 9 p.m. UK time by going to www.followingthenerd.com and clicking the link at the top of the page. And as always, if you want to share your thoughts on any of the stories we've reported on this week, you can tweet us on Twitter @NerdFollowing and like us on Facebook.com/FollowingTheNerd. Thanks for listening, and until next time, farewell.
Following the Nerd is produced and hosted by Mark Savage with co-hosts Stephen McCullough, Jay Faulkner and Paddy Ryan. Following the Nerd is edited by Stephen McCullough with original music by Paul Morgan. This podcast is now endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited, 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, Dark Horse Comics, Marvel, IDW, DC Comics, HBO, AMC or any other company group unless expressly stated as such, and is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. Following the Nerd and the Following the Nerd logo are all rights and reserved worldwide. All of the trademarks are the property of their respective owners. Following the Nerd Online, Following the Nerd logo, and all associated logos and designs are the intellectual property of Following the Nerd Limited. All music and recognizable features and all intellectual property related to these trademarks are likewise the intellectual property of Following the Nerd Limited. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Following the Nerd Limited unless otherwise stated.